And as you can see, I'm still really emotional about today. I don't feel like less of a man. It's just that I care. And the losses that I saw there disturbed me greatly. Two friends burned to death one day in a mission. It's extremely difficult to think about it even today. Um, and I could go on and on about the people that were lost and the lives were ruined. And there's a lot of names on the that are not on the Vietnam Wall that belong there. Guys that died when they come back because of that damn war. And there's something else that people do not consider many times, and that's the golden hour. Vietnam was known as the helicopter war. Now consider this. It's probably been addressed, but I've never seen it addressed. In World War II, you did not have a helicopter, so a lot of casualties occurred. Days later on the field, they couldn't get them out, so they died on the battlefield. In Vietnam, we got thousands and thousands of guys back to MASH units in that golden hour, and we saved their lives. So that tells you how violent Vietnam really was. In close to 60,000 troops, mainly in 67, or 68 and 69 anyway, maybe 70, was where most of those casualties occurred. But think how many there would have been if it hadn't been for the helicopter. It would have, my God, it would have been 10 times at least. And I feel good about having. I mean, I'll leave the war to the politicians. And man has fought wars throughout recorded history. And I have very little to say about it. And but I feel good about having gotten a lot of men home that would not have made it, and they have had full lives because of what we did, and that makes me feel good about it. One time, there were a fellow by the name of a tremendous friend of mine who I still have contact with and lives in Arizona, named Jim McDonald. Call him Mac, of course. Was a crocodile, and he was a little senior to me. He'd been in Vietnam maybe a month longer than I had, so he went home a month before I did. And the tour of duty generally was a year, unless you extended, unless you were crazy enough to extend. But one day in Vietnam, we had gone out to the north of a place called Doc To, and on the way out there, the mission was scrubbed. Somebody had got the team out, and they no longer needed us. So we were turning around and going back home to Holloway with a complete load of fuel and all of our armament, rockets and minigun ammunition, everything. Excuse me. And I was piddling with the radios, seeing if I could get any transmission or what was going on. And I happened to stumble across a Fox Mike FM radio, which what gunship teams and slick teams used to communicate with guys on the ground. And I stumbled across this guy running, obviously running because he was panting. And he was saying, anybody help us? Can anybody help us? Can anybody hear us? Anybody? Panting, and you could hear the brushes and everything hit his face, and I think they called it a Prick 25 radio on his back. And I said that I'll call him Beta 4. I didn't remember exactly what his call sign was. It's been too many years ago. But I said, Beta 4, this is Crocodile 2. Where are you? And he said, kept babbling, I can't talk now. They're right on us. They're right on us. It's a whole company of them. And I gathered from him that it was a LRP team, a 4-man LRP team that was being chased by at least 200 North Vietnamese Army regulars that had been discovered, which was generally not a good thing to have happen to you. And I mean, the NVA usually didn't stop to give you awards. But anyway, I said, I got his coordinates. He gave me his coordinates, and I looked at the sectional, gave the aircraft to the co-pilot, looked at the sectional, and I realized we were right on top of the guy. And so I said, we are right in your area. Please pop smoke. In other words, mark your location with a smoke grenade so we can know where you are and tell us where the enemy is, and we can help you. He said, I can't. And he was still running. I can't. They're too close. They'll give our position away. I said, if you don't pop smoke, we can't help you. We'll blow you away, or we won't even know where you are. The jungle wasn't thick, but you couldn't see exactly what was going on the ground with humans on the ground. And I said, pop red smoke, or some color. And he finally agreed to do it, and he did. And I said, where's the enemy? And at that time, about that time, I saw them dashing across a dried up rice paddy, the 4 of them, and going toward a tree line. And I said, I want you guys to go to that tree line. I'm calling a slick in and a chase to get you guys out. Where's the bad guys? And I no sooner got that out of my mouth than there they were on the field, and you could see their muzzle flashes trying to kill them. Well, that was their big mistake, because they gave their position away. And Mac brought it around. I was winging on him, and he caught them right in the field with 2.75-inch high explosive rockets and minigun ammo. And of course, they turned their guns on us immediately. And he made his pass and came back around, and then I came in, and we basically cleared the area, so to speak, and got that team out, every one of them alive. And the North Vietnamese hadn't fared so well that day. I think we must have taken the whole company out. But anyway, what was really rewarding to me about it was sometime later, I can't remember exactly when, but Mac had gone home, and I was getting a short timer. As I say, I call this guy Beta 4. He came to, we were having a stakeout once, 2 or 3 times we had it over there is all, and we had it in big 55-gallon drums cut in half. They made indigenous charcoal, and they had somebody come up with some steaks. And we were all there at night, and we were having this steak out and drinking a beer, and all of a sudden I heard this guy calling my call sign and my nickname, and Mac. Is Mac here? Is Crocto's Pigpen here? And I said, I'm over here. And this guy came up with, I don't remember whether it's 2 or 3 other guys, they were all together. And they identified themselves as Beta 4. That was extremely rewarding. And they wanted me to thank Mac for them, and I said I certainly would when I got back to the States. And they gave me heartfelt hugs. I like to think maybe that I had a hand in them having full and complete lives, and that's what I feel good about. Things like that.